Start over, or you got it? Does it matter? Okay. Okay, students, welcome back. We're going to be looking at the A-line haircut. I'm going to do 3 of them because there's variables. All right, I am using my Miss Kim mannequin, and you'll see it in just a little bit. But the first thing I want you to do, we've been talking about a straight line. We've been talking about look at what you're doing. Look at the shear. Look at the comb. And one thing I want you to practice doing right now on a piece of paper, that's all. Just, I don't want to, don't like look at yourself do it, just do it. Just draw. I want you to see when I reach over, remember what I said, right to left, left to right, front to back, back to front. That's what you're doing, right to left, left to right. When you're doing that type of cutting, either going from the frontal area to the center nape or going from the center nape to the front, you're going right to left or left to right. So I want you to draw a line. And you can see that as I draw it here, it slightly elevates a little bit there. Because I didn't really look at it, I just drew it. This one comes down. This one is almost straight because I looked at it. I'm looking at it, but yet the second one here curves down a bit. See, it's a little heavier there and a little thinner on this side. Okay, this one again comes up. These are factors when you're looking at your shear. Now, this one is a little bit wavy, all right? I kept my eye on it the whole time as I was doing it across, trying to keep it as straight as I could, and it's a little wavy here, but the initial area that it's at, see the comb? 1.5 combs, 1.5 combs. It's even actually on each side, even though it's a little wavy in the middle. The point is, I was looking at it. That's a big factor when you get ready, especially when we're doing a diagonal cut. When we did the front cut, the graduated cut in the front of the mannequin, what happened? Some of you might have gotten it a little shorter on one side, a little longer on the other. And you can see here, before I drew this line, I drew these 2 on the bottom, and look at that, that curves up, and then it comes way down. Same thing, see, it goes up, and just comes way down. So today we're going to learn to do the A-line. We're going to crawl up into it gradually. I'm going to do 3 cuts. The only one that I really want you guys to do, actually you could go ahead and do all 3, but I don't want you to take it as short as I'm doing mine. If you do, you're going to lose some hair, but eventually we're going to be taking all that off anyways, but you need a little bit of length here later on for your finger waves. So we're going to do, the first A-line is going to be a curve. Exactly what I told you not to do on this 0 elevation. That's going to create a curve. The next one, we're going to slightly give it an angle, and that's going to create a slight upside down oval. The top of an oval, not the bottom of an oval, the top of an oval. And then finally, a true A-line. That's what I want to show you is a true A-line. So here's the mannequin. It's the Miss Kim doll. Now, how do you know that you're perfectly centered on Miss Kim? You see that letter S right there? Right in between the 2 S's is the very center, and you'll have even on both sides. So when you do your 2 quadrants, the way that you do the sides, you put your comb right there behind the ear, and it comes right up, and that's your side. That's how you do the 4 quadrants that are then equal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mannequin, I'm just going to bring it down, and I'm going to do what I told you not to do with the 0. I'm going to bring everything to the center. Remember at the 0 I told you not to bring these up. You're supposed to travel around it. Well, this time we're going to create our guide. I'm going to have it down here on the very edge. So I'm going to create that guide. So everything is going to come up to this line. So all of these, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to make them almost into a point where this last hair comes to that. You see it? Now watch this. I'm not just doing it in this form. I'm bringing that last hair way over, but I want to make sure that all of that is even. In other words, I want to make sure that this isn't up on top. All right, this side is not up on top. I'm combing it down and I'm bringing that last hair over to it. Over to it. And there's my guide. Now, I'm going to do the other side. Comb it down first. Then bring that last hair over to it. And now I'm holding everything at the very center here. So what that's doing is it's creating, you can see that there's two different lengths there. It's creating a slight oval. In other words, only a slight A-line. So I'm going to take the side now. The side is probably not going to reach. So what I'm going to do with the side is I'm going to match it up with this hair. When it reaches, it really does become a lot longer and curves out a lot more. But I'm going to take it because I still want to blend. And I'm going to hold it in this form, exactly what I told you not to do, straight across. And some people do cut their hair that way. And what I want you to see in that is the profile. This is longer, this is shorter. So that's what I'm talking about as far as an oval. I'm going to bring the other side over. Make sure that your client and your mannequin are straight. So I'm going to bring it over to this, to the very end, right the area behind the ear, because I know it's not going to reach back, but I am going to turn it back. Do you see that? I'm turning it back. I'm not doing this. I'm turning it all back. In other words, it's all being cut straight across at the back. Exactly what I told you not to do. Now this is what you do. That didn't mean you would have been wrong if you're doing an A-line. All right? Now what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to subsection that out. Get that out of the way. Take this again. Make sure your mannequin is straight right there behind the ear. See it? Right behind the ear. I should say behind the earlobe, whatever, ear wing. All right, now what we're going to do, make sure your mannequin is straight. I'm going to separate it in two, and there's the middle of my Kim. I'm going to separate it in two, and this time, tip of the ear to tip of the ear. I'm subsectioning this side. You guys know what a subsection is. Can you see it okay, cameraman?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, then I'm going to subsection this side. So I've got that parted off down the center. I'm going to get it as clean as you can. Now this time we're going to give it a slight oval. The first one was just a curve, just a slight curve. Now we're going to give it a slight oval. So I'm going to shift the head forward. I'm going to just take that first section. I'm going to part it down the center first, very center of that nape. And I'm going to create from the center occipital, just above the nape line, I'm going to create that slight area. I want to make sure you see it. See, it looks like this. Come on, mannequin. I'm going to move that out of the way so you can see that it's a definite triangle. All right? What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to try and keep my hand so that you can see it. Give it just a slight. In other words, this is horizontal. Just lift it up a little bit. And I'm going to cut that with that little lift. Now I'm going to bring this over and I'm going to bring everything to that center area that I cut. Some of it's going to be out a little bit. See, the last haircut is right here. But what I'm doing is I'm creating a line. See it? So I'm right at this corner when I'm bringing it down. So, in other words, the lift is only so much. And again, there's my guide, I'm following it. Now, can you see that curving up just a little bit more? I'm going to drop this down, and I don't think I have very much to cut, the natural fall, and I just want to comb it so it's falling naturally. So all I do with the hair above that tip of the ear to tip of the ear is it follows the guide that I developed from this area below that. That creates the guide for the finished look. All right? The mistake that people make is they try and bring it all the way over, and then that creates a slight layered look. Is it wrong? No, not if you want it slightly layered. But we don't. We want this to just land straight down. So see, decisions made in hair cutting, it doesn't make it wrong. It's a result that you either makes it right or wrong for the client, even though the cut is not a bad cut. All right? So I'm just going to bring that straight down. I'm following those little hairs underneath. Now, if I can't see them, I don't cut. See it? Very, very little right here. Very little that needs to be cut. So I'm just going to almost like freehand it and take it up into it. So this is becoming more of an oval. I'm going to take the side. Let's get these out of the way. And then I'm going to bring that back again. And you can see that there is very little to be cut. Very little. So this is what you would call a very, it's a little bit higher A-line, a lot more visible. All right, so I'm going to bring this over. And that very center hair is my guide on the angle. That very center hair right here. And then I've got to know my angle. It's not horizontal. It's just only slightly lifted. What you would call that, if you were to have a protractor, I'm going to put it up here. That's 0. In other words, we're not elevating it, but the angle of the cut. So this is point of origin. In other words, where the hair grows, where it's landing, all of that. Point of origin has a lot to do with all of that. And that's 45 degree. All right? This is then 90. This is 135. This is 180, which will be the next haircut that we're going to be doing. So what I'm doing here is to this line, if I were to have a protractor right here, and this is 0, this would be 45 degree. All right, so I'm going to just take it, bring it down, and you can see that that has created a definite oval in there. Got a little bit of a corner from that nape corner here shows up right there. And I'm going to show it to you just a little bit more. See it? And that's where clients would question it. Why is that corner there? And I've got one here too. And these are things that you look at, but know where they come from. All right, so then I'm going to drop this, bring it down, and now I just follow the line. See, I just follow the line underneath that I can see, because this hair is going to fall into it. Just follow that line. Then I'm going to take the sides down, bring it back. Nothing needs to be cut on that side at all. See, and I've actually got a corner right here. That corner comes from this. We're not going to worry about that. Well, yeah, we will. Take it off. Okay. So see where that now creates an oval. And there we go again. See that? Those things are going to show up. And that is the perimeter line. You've brought it down to one area. So now we have a slight oval. Okay, so now we're going to create the A-line cut. The A-line cut, I'm just going to part this down the center. You know what, I'm not going to do that because I want you guys to follow directions. So I'm going to subsection it again, right to the area behind the ear. Put those clippies again. Subsection it down the center. Now what tells me that I'm at the center? My little S right there, Miss Kim. And I am going to, again, bring this up. It's very necessary that you subsection it down the center and then bring that up. All right, area behind the ear again, right there. See it? It's right there. And this time, with this mannequin, I'm going to go much shorter. I'm going to bring it across. Now, one thing that you can do with these that definitely, you just have to be careful on the cutting. Please pay attention on the cutting, because I want you to, when we're done with this semester, I want you to truthfully understand what you're doing, but end up with 2 mannequins as opposed to 1. Okay, I'm a little off on my section there. Let me clean that up. If I expect you to do it right, I should do it right, don't you think? All right, so I'm bringing that up. Now this time, we're going to take it up a little higher. This time, our angle now changes. It's going to move up a little bit more. It's not going to be straight out, but the angle that we're going to be doing it is going to change. So I'm going to bring her head down again, and you see that oval. Now, what you're going to start seeing now is a sharp A. So I'm going to bring this, and now I'm making the letter A. I'm subsectioning it off the center nape there. See, that's the middle. Let me get that out of the way so we don't confuse you. And this is more of a precision haircut. You have to be very precise back here to get what you want. So I'm going to subsection it just down. See, there's the nape. There's the half of it. Another thing that tells you you're at the center, by the way, on the Miss Kim is right there. See, that's kind of a cheater line. But that tells you that you're at the center nape. So I'm going to separate that down the middle. And I'm going to take it now, and I'm going to cut it at this angle. Let me stand on the other side. Let me move the mannequin. Hopefully you can see it better. Now, do you see where I am now making the letter A? I'm not laying it down anymore with just a slight angle. I'm doing an extreme angle on it. This is going to be, that's why it's called the A-line haircut. So I'm going to take that up, and you notice that I palm my comb. And you don't have to take it this short. This mannequin has got shorter hair than yours does. Okay? And then I'm going to lay it down. And I have a little bit of length left there. And you'll start seeing, as I draw this over, now I'm going to bring this over again, and just let it fall from that area. Don't bring it up. You'll cut it too short. You'll end up being squared off there. So what you do is you follow, in other words, this last hair is your guide for the rest of that. And you can see that we're coming up a lot more, as opposed to that slight curve, oval. Now it's an A-line haircut. And it's normally done, this type of cut is normally done on really short hair. Alright, so I'm going to come back over to the other side. And I'm going to just subsection it. Now this is my guide, but look at the angle. I'm making the letter A. And I'm going to take it here, bring it down. And I hope you guys can see that.
Yeah.
See it? Bring this over. That's going to follow that guide. And when we really get down to the really short cuts, so now are you seeing that definite A in there? That's why it's called an A-line haircut. The line is like the letter A. So now what I'm going to do, all I'm going to do now with the hair that's falling from the top is, can you see my guide? Okay, I'm not going to hold it. So I'm just cutting and following my guide underneath, letting that hair be the natural fall. Normally an A-line is a true A-line. Like I said, now you can see my guide. I combed it close right there. Normally an A-line is done on shorter hair. And actually the A-line can be taken up to the center, almost to the center occipital, to create that volume. Clients that want volume at the crown, this is a good cut for it. And you can already see that kind of lifting up and hugging that head a little bit, but that's definitely the A-line. I'm going to bring this up now. What happens with the A-line, I'm not taking that to the center unless I want layers. I don't want layers. I'm going to keep that same angle. I'm going to comb the hair straight down. There's my guide. See it underneath. So what I'm going to do, let me get over on this side. I'm going to just hold the comb down, and I'm going to continue following that. I'm not cutting this hair on this side. See it? That line is being followed all the way out. So now on this side, you see what I need to cut. I'm going to bring it over, kind of focusing it right on top of the ear there. And if their ears really stick out, you have to be careful about it. But see, there's not a lot to cut now. But you can definitely see that it's shorter in the back, longer in the front. And you're going to get maximum volume right here at the crown. Because shorter does what? Moves longer. This is not going to lift as much. See it? As much as I'm trying to lift it, it's all long. So they're going to have their volume at the crown where they want it. So I'm going to take this side now for you to see it. And all I'm doing is following. I'm staying right there. You see that I'm staying at the flat part of the head, and I'm just following that guide now. So now what it's done, from staying here, now it's starting to, we stay here, the area at the back, we kind of, we move it over, but as it comes down, you keep traveling down. If you want layers, you're going to bring it over, and then so therefore that's going to be a little shorter. So this is where you have to be careful with what is called a true A-line haircut. What I want to do is I want to blow dry this for you so you can see it and start learning blow dry procedures as well. So we're going to add the blow dry now. We're going to turn off and then add the blow dry. All right, so I'll be right back with my blow dryer. You ready? Okay. Okay, students, what I did was I subsectioned it off the parietal line and then off at the area behind the ear, the flat part of the head. Stayed pretty close to the flat part of the head on that. And then at the back, instead of doing a subsection across tip of the ear to tip of the ear, this is an A-line. So what we want to do is we want to really structure that A-line in there. So at the occipital area, I just subsectioned it in this form as opposed to coming across to do this. So what I'm going to do, the thing about your blow dryer, you don't do this, okay? None of this with the blow dryer unless you want carpal tunnel and not be in this industry very long. Carpal tunnel can be very, very painful. You always use your full arm. You do not do this. Always your full arm when you're blow drying, whether you're going up and down or whether you're going side to side. Occasionally you'll see a little bit of this, but still you'll see the arm move, all right, when I'm doing this. The thing about the blow dryer as well, you can use high heat. The heat is right there. You can put it on high heat, but put it on low air. You don't need to, remember you're designing, you're creating. So by creating, if you put it too high, it's going to blow it all over the place and you lose control. So I'm going to show you how to use your round brush. Practice turning your round brush in your hand like this. Just practice turning it, manipulating it. In other words, you're going to turn it away from you, you're going to turn it towards you. So you're going to be using your blow dryer to help you blow dry. You don't just blow dry it in there and then not let your blow dryer as well become part of your designing tool. So I'm going to turn it on low air, high heat. I want heat in there. I'm going to section off a section. I'm going to place my round brush underneath. I'm going to start at the scalp. You never point the blow dryer towards the client. And you notice my arm is moving and then I roll it in. I'm going to lay the hair over and you can already see that curl coming in. Bring it in. Hold it, let it cool. That's why I'm holding it, letting it cool. Look at the volume. Now I'm going to travel down, and it's okay if you heat up that previously curled hair. You don't have to start from the bottom. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Now, and you notice that I'm not doing it horizontally. I'm doing it vertically. I'm working on that A-line. Make sure that your blow dryer does not touch your brush. Your blow dryer needs to stay just a little bit off the brush. All right? But look at that volume coming in, and then I roll it in, let it cool. And then you bring it out and look at that volume. And see, it's already going to create a slight layering effect because of the volume. But you see that A-line in there. I'm going to drop this now. Bring it up and use my blow dryer. See that rotating motion I'm doing? I'm lifting it up. Now I want to create a lot of volume there. So I want that hair to heat up going up. I want you to see what happens when I do that. Now, I'm not pointing it at the scalp. It's being pointed only at the hair. And believe me, your client will tell you, let that cool. I want you to see what happens. See how much lift you get when you do that. Okay, I don't want it going in that direction. I didn't finish it. So now I'm going to go to the top, bring it out, and now this is just like curling it. I'm curling it now to come to the center. And sometimes it will get stuck in the brush like that. But see that coming in, and look at the volume that you get. You get a lot more volume when you go a little bit higher with the A-line. You can go lower and you'll get some volume, but on shorter hair, this is pretty much what it's meant for. All right, I'm going to bring this, and I'm going to work the whole section. I want some lift. I'm drying it in, let it hold it, bring it up, do the other side, roll it in, unroll it. See, when you roll it in, don't try to pull it out. When you roll it in, place your blow dryer and unroll it over the blow dryer. It's in there, unroll it, and bring it in. Have a little bit of a split in the center there. So the heat is working like a curling iron. It's placing it. It's setting it for you. It's moving it in the direction that you want it to move. Oh, I started that before I did the bottom, so we're not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it right now. I added the top at the occipital before I finished the bottom, but you can see that doesn't matter. I can still get in there. Heat it up, put my blow dryer underneath it, bring it to the center, and it's putting that A-line right in there. All right, now I'm going to do the sides. I'm going to subsection it. I'm going to subsection it halfways for volume. If I didn't want a lot of volume here, I wouldn't, all right? But I want to work this up so that I bring it out for volume. Remember when we were talking the curling iron, I said you got to hold it up This is the same factor. It's forcing that hair up, and then the hair comes around it. So you're going to get maximum volume. If you hold it out, you're not. The hair's coming down, and then it lays down. So I'm going to show you an example of that, all right? First time, I'm going to bring it out. Then do the top. Curl it in, but I'm bringing it out. And it just depends on what you want. Remember, it's going to be, see, it's at a slight angle. It's cut at an angle. Curl it in. And when you're coming into it, always make sure that you're pointing the blow dryer away from that client. What that does too is it creates a smooth effect because it's laying that cuticle down. Okay, so see that? It's laying down nicely, feeding into it. Now watch what happens when I bring it up. I'm going to heat it up. Heat it up. Bring it out. Curl it in. And I'm going to hold it. I have to let it cool into that. Now look at how much more lift you have. Depends on what you want and where you want it. All right, I don't necessarily want that much lift on the side, but if she's got a, now remember we're talking about facial shape. If she needs width because her face is long and thin, then we would want to pull it out a bit. If she's got a, you know, like a little bit of a heavier face, and you don't want to round her out again, you want to then bring it down. So those are factors that you're going to use in the blow drying. So I'm going to take this now, comb it. See, I'm using my blow dryer as a tool. And you can see that that is a little bit longer. And I'm kind of bringing it up. Now for this, I'm going to bring it out this way. If I want volume. If I don't want volume, then I bring it out this way. If I want no volume, then I'm going to bring it down. That's no different when you're styling. Some of you, when you were doing your thermal curls, and you were holding it down and then bringing it in, that's why the lift wasn't as much at the scalp. If you want volume at the scalp, you have to hold it up. Okay, I'm going to take this little piece and I'm going to hold it up just for you to see the variable in that. See that pop up more than this area here? So that's part of it. Can I make it lay down? Yes, I can. But I also want you to see what happens on the sides when I turn it around. All right? I'm going to do the other side now. See the lift on that. See how much that lifted out. You can see how that lifted out by doing that. This side, I'm going to lay down a little bit more so you can see the difference. Again, I'm going to section it in half. Let me clip this out of the way. On this side, I'm going to make it lay down as opposed to having that separate volume. And all it amounts to is how I hold it. It's no different than how you hold your curling iron. If you hold it down, it's going to do the same thing. We are ironing with a blow dryer. Low air, high heat. Now, watch what happens when I use my high heat. High air, I'm sorry. All it does is get noisier, blows the hair. See how it's bending it? It's bending it, and I'm not getting everything that I want. It scattered it because that center air was hitting it right there. So high air is not necessary. Low air, high heat. Air is air. So I'm going to bring this one down so you can see the difference as far as what happens with the look. and the profile as well. So see how that's coming down on it. And some people want it down. They don't want it up. They don't want that volume. They like that hair close to their face. And that's when you talk to your client. That's part of the create. You know, what are you going to create that with that client? And your knowledge about how to do it becomes extreme. And you notice that I'm not doing any of that. All right, everything is using my whole arm. And I got to tell you, it's going to give you some strong shoulders. So you can see that this one, on this side, I'm bringing it down. Out, hold it out, and then smooth it down. So you don't have that lift that you had on the other side. So what I want for the center crown, what I did here, again another triangle at the center crown. It's right by the apex, off to the, it's pretty much just at the upper ridge if you think about it. That's just the upper ridge. So, but I've carved this out because for this one, again, I want to create volume. Like I said, they usually get it cut this short because it's volume that they want. Now make sure you're not hitting on the scalp, because when it says hot, it means hot. There. Now see that lift. Now if I want more lift, I'm going to take it forward. See, I want that up. I'm going to hold it a minute. Let it cool. Look at that lift. See, so it comes up higher. This is part of your create mode. Look at that lift. Just from moving it forward. All right? So I'm going to turn this now. This one is going to be up. The other side is going to be down. So I'm going to bring this up, all of it. And you can do a side part if you want. Now, I'm going to then subsection it again down the center and work with a small portion at a time. I'm at the upper ridge now, off the parietal line, off the just above the flat part of the head. Again, I want volume in this one. Okay, so I'm pushing it away because I want volume. I want that lift in there. And see, this is where you talk to your client, because your client at home cannot do this. Your client at home, this is where they're going to need you. And this is the variable. Look at that lift we've got. Put some lift in there. Let it cool. There you go. So we've got some nice lift coming into that, and I want to bring it all the way out, curl it, and I'm going to let it cool on the iron. Did you notice those flyaways? See how that smooths that down? Let it cool into the iron and it will smooth it down. Now if I wanted to, I could just take all this back. But being that we're looking at just doing volume, let me move it around so you guys can see it. And I'm going to hold the brush this time this way so you can see what I'm doing. Volume. No, that makes it too hard. All right, I'm going to move over to the other side. Oops, sorry cameraman. I just kicked the camera thing. Okay, he's going to fix it. See, I'm at the base. In other words, that's called the base. I'm creating that volume to keep it all lifted up, giving them the volume that they want. And you can talk to them. Just say, when you blow dry your hair at home, you know, just lift it up like I'm lifting it up. When they want it done perfect, of course, they're going to come to you. Okay, and smooth it out. Now the other side. Come over here. Part this in half, and no volume. See it? I'm doing very little underneath. I'm only doing it to dry it. And I'm going to follow the brush out. Follow the brush out. Follow it out so that it smooths into it. Follow the brush out. Let my blow dryer help me. Kind of roll it around the blow dryer. This is going to take practice on your part. See that? Hold on to that switch. Hold on to that switch. All right? And this takes practice. It's not something you're just going to be able to do. You've got to practice it. Now see how this comes down. So it's going to look longer when it comes down as opposed to looking shorter when it goes up. I think that's supposed to come over here. Okay? And again, just ride that blow dryer out. Ride it out. Straight down. And if she had bangs, she'd be using bangs right now. Now, let's say that I want this all to just go back. All right, so I would have stayed here at the center, lift it up, and then smooth it back. Now, it just depends, again, how much volume do we want? Do we want no volume? Do we want lots of volume? You see how that sticks out? So you can get it. Now, here's a trick. You can take your brush, curl it once like this, heat that up, let it cool, and look at that volume come up right there. Now, if I still want to open this up, but yet not as full as that one, again, put it around the brush, give it a little bit of a bend in the direction that I want it to go. See that? Heat it up. So not as much volume, but she is still standing out a bit. Want this to curl under. Heat it up, roll it around the brush. See, the brush is heating up with the air. So that's working for you. Look at how nice that just kind of curled up in there and just sort of did what it's supposed to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my brush, a little bit of a vent brush here, and brush it into shape. Now, if I wanted this to smooth under even more, what I've done is I've heated up my thermal iron. So then I would take my iron, before I put it on the hair, I would use my Sand-Strip. I don't have any in front of me right now, but I would use my Sand-Strip to make sure it's not too hot. Now I want this to bend in real nice. So I'm going to take this, and then just turn the iron as I do it. Curl it in. This is where I'm starting from the ends up. You see that bend in there nicely. Curl it in and then close the iron. Don't close it and create that little gap. Now, I'm going to come back over here to the shorter hair, grab the ends, curl them in. And see how that feeds in real nice? Be careful that you don't burn yourself as you're doing this. Now put your comb under there. You got to protect the client. So I want you to see the difference that did. Look at that straight line that created. I'm going to bring this hair back just on the ends. See the ends? Close it and then curl it in. Now what's going to happen until you get used to it, if you close your iron before, see that? You're going to create that little line in there. Don't close your iron. I'm going to smooth that out. And that's why you have to learn how to click. Okay, again, the ends. We want this to look like an A-line. So I'm bringing that in there. Almost burnt myself there, so be very careful because you can. That's why you click out. Okay, bring that in. And look at the angle of the iron. See, that's following the haircut. That's following what we did. Okay, I'm taking it up just a bit. And bring it in. And bring those ends in there. So then it follows through, oops, with that A-line. It's going to be longer on the sides. My little ends are trying to curl up a bit. But you can see that that is in there. Okay? And I'm jacking this up for you guys. Thank you very much. Wait a minute. I know how to fix it. You see those are trying to curl forward. I'm going to bring them, elevate them up just a bit and curl them back. Elevate them up just a bit and curl them back. In other words, you notice the shape of the iron. So those ends are going to drive you nuts. And this is because this hair is layered too. Curl it back. There you go. That's a little better. Not great. I wish your teacher was perfect, but she's not. Okay, so what do I need to do here? I'm really messing this up, so what do you think I need to do? Get a bigger round brush. Little bigger round brush. Heat it up. Press that out a bit with that round brush. There you go. Solutions, not problems. There's always a solution. Now let me turn her a bit here, get that corner. Put that in there for that A-line, and that smoothed it out real nice. Again, this is the side that we wanted some volume in. So I'm going to comb that back for the volume. And you can see I've got a little corner there. Where do you suppose that corner comes from? Isn't that strange? There it is right there. So this is where when your stylist comes in and she starts taking a little nip here, a little nip there, but you can see that this A-line straight up. Let's do the other side that's a little bit lower. And again, A-line straight up, volume or no volume. And then we can just comb it back, do what we need to do. But that is a sharper A-line. Like I said, you could even go shorter up to the center occipital. I don't want you to do that yet. We're going to do that later. But there she is. She's combing up nice. She curled up real nice right there, didn't she? Look at how much softer that is. Look at how much curlier that is. Softer, longer, volume, shorter. All right, so be aware of that. If they want the volume, it's going to pop up. It's going to make it look a little shorter. Good luck with this haircut. Practice drawing those straight lines because it's important on this. Remember, on this side, fingers are going to be pointing when you're standing behind it. All right, on this side, let me stand here. They're going to be pointing up that way. On this side, they're going to be pointing down. What the mistake that people make, this is pointing up, this is pointing down. They try and point this up because they see their fingers. Look at what you're cutting. That's the purpose of teaching you all the different haircuts. Look at what you're doing, because when we start doing some clipper cutting, that is so extreme in knowing that. But look at that nice layered effect that it's got. It looks good on both sides. So whether you want lots of volume or no volume, it still lays nice. A little bit of layering on top, it still looks good. So this is your A-line haircut. You can see that is the letter A. We went a little bit more, sorry, we lost it for a minute, you guys. We went a little bit more extreme. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you got this. Please practice. Please, not so short if you can, because we need these mannequins for other stuff that we're going to do. The next haircut, everything, remember, is now first held down here, first held down there, or you brought it up, but still it was held down close to the head. The next one now, we're going to start going away from the head. We're going to start holding it up. We're going to start holding it out. And there's a lot to learn. And then what I want to start seeing on your pictures, which is what I'm going to start doing, is the blow dry after. Okay? Thank you very much, students. See you in a little bit.